You're listening to episode 16 of the Afros and Pixie Dust podcast, The Lion Queen with Tryphena. Hey, Diz friends. Welcome to episode 16 of the Afros and Pixie Dust podcast. I am your host, June. So this week, The Lion King is set to be released in theaters. And I don't know if I'm ready, but I gotta get ready because it's coming. I'm seeing it on Thursday. It is my number one Disney movie. It was the movie I watched incessantly growing up. It was the first movie that really exposed me to Disney. And I'm excited to see how they created this non-live action, live action, and to see this new reincarnation of it. I was not actually planning to see it when they first announced it, but as is the cycle of live action movies, I eventually came around, and now I look forward to seeing what Disney did this time around. Last week was the red carpet premiere of The Lion King, and I was so excited to follow along with some of my favorite POC accounts as they walked the red carpet and got to actually see the show. Tamika, Tiffany, and Tanae from the Brown Side of Disney all went, and I loved following along in their stories, as well as Courtney from Color Me Courtney and Color Me Magic, and I also enjoyed following along with her. And I loved seeing Stephanie, also known as Flowers for Steph on Instagram, and Yvette, also known as Disneyland Mermaid, getting to meet and greet the stars of the show on the red carpet. So I saw y'all, and I'm really excited to see that we out there doing things and getting to enjoy this historic movie. Everyone knows me for my Disney bounds, and I actually have not come up with a Disney bound for this movie because I was not in the creative space to do this movie justice. And so I'm probably going to have to do a whole series of The Lion King at a later date. And I have to do it right. So if y'all looking for a Disney bound from me for The Lion King, you're not going to get it right now. The right inspiration has to come to me before I can even broach this, because my heart can't take it right now. After the interview, stay tuned because I have a few special announcements to make, including the giveaway that I had teased about in last week's episode. And I don't want you guys to miss out. Don't fast forward. We ain't about that life. That ain't cool. But definitely after you listen to the interview, stay tuned if you are interested in entering the giveaway for more information. And I'll also have an update finally on the D23 Expo meetup. This week's guest is Tryphena. She is a multidimensional artist from Columbus, Ohio. She is a professional actress, and her career includes work overseas, throughout North America, as well as on and off Broadway. And she is currently gracing the stage as Queen Sarabi in Disney's The Lion King on Broadway in New York. I had the pleasure of seeing Tryphena perform when I went to see The Lion King on Broadway for my birthday. And I actually got to meet up with her at the stage door afterwards. And she is so sweet and such a beautiful soul. And it was a great highlight to my birthday weekend. And then the next day, my actual birthday, was when I got to interview her. So it was a really cool little birthday treat for me. In addition to acting, Tryphena is an author, director, producer, and a life coach. She encourages individuals to live their best lives by reminding us that fear is stupid. And I've definitely had to repeat that mantra to myself a lot lately. She recently finished directing and producing a short film titled Dear Carefree Black Girl, which is currently on the festival circuit, so be sure to check it out. And without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Tryphena. Hi, Tryphena. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
So am I. This is like amazing. Um, so, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, my name is Tryphena Wade. I am a professional actor and singer, among other things. I like to call myself polyhyphenated. But yeah, I'm a professional actor. Currently, I'm in The Lion King on Broadway. And I play the role of Sarabi, who is the queen. She's the mother of Simba. So I've been doing that for quite a while now. But yeah, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I went to Howard University. Any Bison out there? What's up, Bison? Yeah, I'm a traveler. I'm a writer. I'm many things. But my main thing right now is Lion King on Broadway. So.
Yes. And I went to see you yesterday.
Yes, you did. Thanks for coming.
Yes, it was amazing. I
Oh,
enjoyed
good.
it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so
Yeah.
glad. You've seen the show before, right?
Yeah, so that was my third time seeing it.
Awesome.
But
Awesome. I love when
yeah,
people come like over and over again. It's so cool to know that people love the show that much that they'll, keep coming back.
I mean, that show is so beautiful. That
Yeah.
was, I think, the first Broadway show. Well, maybe the second. Like I saw, I think Phantom like in middle
Okay.
school or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was like the first Broadway show as an adult, I guess,
Yeah.
that I went to see, and that show is like it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Frozen gets a close second,
Okay,
but
okay.
yeah, I feel like that show it was so well done. The
Yeah.
sets, everything is just it's just so beautiful. Everyone
Yeah.
should see it at least once in their life.
I agree. And not just because I'm in it, but I really do love the show. I mean, I really do love it. And it's funny that after having been a part of the show for a while, I still feel like chills sometimes. Like there are definitely still moments where I'm like, "Oh, this is just so beautiful." So that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dive deep into who Tryphena is.
Okay.
But before that, I'm gonna ask you a few Disney questions.
Okay. Oh. Disney trivia. Let's see if I
Yeah.
pass.
And no judgment.
Okay, okay.
Everyone has their own level of Disney exposure.
Right, of course, of course.
But when were you first exposed to Disney?
Oh wow! I mean, I think as a kid, we all kind of grew up watching those Disney movies. Like as a kid, I loved Cinderella. I loved The Lion King, of course. But yeah, like I just grew up kind of watching Disney everything. Like, we all know Mickey Mouse, and then, you're introduced to the whole cast of characters, Goofy and Donald Duck and everybody. And then you see the movies. And so it's just like, it was just always a part of my life and a part of my childhood. So yeah, I honestly can't remember a time that I didn't know what Disney was.
Yeah.
It's just so much a part of our culture. So yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
so. And it's been around over 90 years.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's just part of culture. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite Disney movie or a show?
um that's hard to say. I love so many of the movies. I love Little Mermaid. I love Cinderella. You know what movie I love that for some reason I feel like people don't like, it's not as popular? Fantasia. Do you remember
Uh,
Fantasia? I
yes.
loved Fantasia. And I think as a kid, I think people thought it was weird for me to love it, but I just loved the music. You know what I mean? Like it was just so much beautiful music and I just loved it. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's hard to pick a favorite. I guess I shouldn't say Lion King. That would be kind of cliche to say that. But I do love Lion King.
No
Um,
judgment. That's the running theme here. That's the
yeah,
running
yeah,
theme here.
yeah.
So
I think it's really hard for me to choose a favorite. So yeah.
yeah. My core favorite is Lion King, but on
Okay.
any given day it can change, you
Right. It can
know.
shift. Yeah, it can shift.
Yeah. So are there any characters, any Disney characters that you would say you identify with that are kind of like maybe your spirit animals or characters?
Oh, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Any characters that I say I identify with? Well, I love the what is her? I can't remember her name, and that's so bad.
That's okay.
She's a Disney princess. I should know her name.
What color does she wear?
The princess, and she's the green. She's the black one. She's
Tiana.
Tiana. I should know that, right? I should know that. I think probably, I guess her, just because she's like the first black Disney princess. You know what I mean? So I guess I just think it's amazing, that they kind of include everybody nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. She's also
Um,
a running theme here.
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We love Tiana.
Yeah,
She
I love her.
definitely is an icon.
But of course, I love Sarabi because that's who I play.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and she's a
Yeah.
lioness and she's fierce. So yeah,
Oh yeah. She is a queen.
she is a queen. She's absolutely a queen, not a princess, but a queen.
Exactly. So have you ever been to a Disney park?
I have. I've been to the park in Orlando a couple times actually, and the first time I went I was an adult. And it was just amazing. Like, people always talk about the parks and talk about how magical they are and all of that. And I think a lot of times people think it's magical for kids, but as an adult, it was pretty magical as an adult. Just to kind of see, because, like I said, we kind of grow up with Disney, we grow up with these characters, and then to go to the park and just see them walking around, like it's just an amazing feeling. It makes your childhood just kind of like come back to you, you know what I mean? So but yeah, I've been to the parks in Orlando a couple times, and it's an amazing experience.
We love the parks here.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
bit addicted,
so much
but
fun.
yeah.
So much fun.
And I feel like there's just a vibe there that's like positive.
There is, and
And
it is kind
so
of magical. Like, people talk about that Disney magic, and but it is kind of a magical thing. There's like something there. They're sprinkling happy dust in the air or something, because it's just like a happy place.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a good escape from the everyday and
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So let's talk about you and how awesome you are.
Oh, okay. Well, where should we begin?
So when did you decide that acting was your passion?
I think when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. I would watch TV, and I would watch, my parents took us to see theater when we were kids. And I just loved it. I loved the idea of telling stories. I thought watching people on stage was just a magical thing. Um, and so I think I knew from the time I was a little kid that I wanted to be an actor. It's weird though, because I would tell people I want to be a lawyer. I want to be open. I remember telling people I wanted to be an open heart surgeon. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where that came from. I think it just sounded impressive.
Right.
But even saying those things, I still knew that I wanted to be an actor. And when I realized that I absolutely just had to do it, was I came to New York. When I was in high school, I was in the marching band, and we marched in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade here in New York City. So, we came to New York, and as a part of our time in New York, we saw a couple Broadway shows, and we saw Les Mis. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I got to do that. Whatever that is that they're doing, I got to do it. Because it was just an amazing feeling. I felt like I was, transported to this other world. And I just loved that they were acting and singing and dancing and telling this story. Um, and I just knew from then, I was like, I got to live in New York. I got to do that. Whatever that is, I got to do it. So, yeah, I think I kind of always knew from when I was a kid. But when I was in high school and took that first trip to New York, that's when I just knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had to be an actor.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
when you went to Howard, you majored in?
Yeah. So I majored in theater, in musical theater at Howard. Yeah. And that experience, it gave me a lot of an amazing education, but it also gave me kind of a grit. Like you need some grit in order to make it in this business, because it's not easy. Like, I think people see the glitz and the glamour and the fun and, oh, you're living your dreams and all of this, but it's not an easy journey. You know what I mean? So going to Howard definitely gave me that grit. Um, and gave me, my training and my education. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
closest I've gotten to Broadway was in college. I worked at Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
Oh.
And so, but I did see, a lot of my coworkers were actors, and
Yeah.
yeah, I saw how it wasn't easy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I totally understand. There is a lot of work and stress, and
Yeah, and a lot of like rejection,
yeah,
people don't see that part,
right,
but but if you're loving it and you're doing what you love, it's, the rewards are worth it. So, yeah.
right. The beauties and the work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, how long have you been acting professionally?
I've been acting professionally for about, oh wow, like 16 years now.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to some other people, it hasn't been a long time, but yeah. About 16 years, yeah.
What do you remember your first job?
Yes, my first job was at a theater in Arlington, Virginia called Signature Theater. It's actually a very well-known theater in the theater community. And the show was A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. And I played Tintinnabula. She was a courtesan from the East, and
Okay.
I wore this costume that had like bells all over it, and I did this dance, and all the bells started clanging, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah,
Wow.
that was my first professional acting job. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite roles that you've played?
Oh wow. Well, I did a production of Smokey Joe's Cafe. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I played the role made famous by Brenda Braxton, who is one of our theater divas, one of our Black theater legends.
Yeah.
So I played that role. I also played Dina Jones in a production of Dreamgirls.
Uh-huh.
Um, let's see what else. Lion King. I mean, playing Sarabi is definitely one of my favorite roles. I just, I love playing her. And I also understudy the role of Shenzi, and that role is a lot of fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But I think probably my most favorite and most life-changing role, I think, was I did a production of a show called Open the Door, Virginia. That was one of the productions that was like one of my first shows once I graduated from college. And I did that show at a theater in Virginia. And the show was basically about the Brown versus Board of Education case that led to school desegregation in the United States. And so I played the main character. So it's based on a real, true story. I played the main character, who was like this young girl who led this protest in her school to get like equal teaching in her school. So I think that's probably one of the most powerful roles I've ever played, and one of the most challenging. And so that's definitely one of my favorites.
That was a powerful and amazing movement.
Yeah.
In addition to acting, seeing you in the show, you look like you have a dancing background. Is that another passion of yours?
I do have a bit of a dancing background. I would not call myself a dancer
Okay.
because I know dancers and I can't do what they do. But but I do have dance training. I do have some dance training. And I just, I enjoy movement and dance of all kinds. So yeah, I do have a bit of a dance background, but I would never stand next to one of the dancers in my show and call myself a dancer. I just wouldn't dare.
Okay.
Because what they do is amazing every night. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do have a dance background. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just the movements. I mean, and I'm just gonna keep gushing about the show throughout
Yeah.
this whole episode, but the movements of everyone, like all
Yeah.
the actors, all the dance, like it's just so beautiful.
Yeah. And the dancing in Lion King is so specific. And I mean, really everything about the show is so specific. And that's really one of the things that I love about it is that it's not a cookie cutter theater experience. It's not a cookie cutter like Broadway show. You know what I mean? Like everything is so specific and so well thought out. Not to say that other shows aren't, but it's just very, very specific to, the story that we're trying to tell and the cultures that it pulls from and all of that. So there is a level of ability that, everybody has to kind of have when you audition, when you come to the show, that, everybody has a dance audition at some point, at some level. Yeah. And just because it's so specific to what they want, you know what I mean? So yeah.
That whole artistic flow, you can see
Yeah.
it. I think it was the first scene. I couldn't even breathe. And it wasn't my first time seeing it, but just remembering like how they had the actors be the grass.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
It's just so
we
beautiful.
embody every single thing. We embody everything.
Wow. So Queen Sarabi, how long have you been with the Lion King show?
Well, I first started with the show in 2010. And I was actually on the North American tour. So I was on the North American tour for about 5.5 years. And then I left the tour and I moved back to New York, and then I, joined the Broadway company, and I was there just for a short time. And then I left again, and I was gone for about 1.5 years. And then I came back again, and now I'm here for a little while longer. So it's been on and off since 2010. So almost 9 years, on and off for almost 9 years. Yeah.
Wow. So maybe I did see you when I went the last time.
Well, where did you go to Broadway, or did you see it on tour?
I did Broadway.
Okay.
Let's see, maybe 2012.
Oh no, I was still on tour at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. I was still on tour. Yeah.
In addition to Sarabi, you said you were Shenzi. Were there other roles that you played on?
Yeah, so I understudy Shenzi, which basically all the parts have one or two, sometimes three understudies. So if the main person who plays that part is ill or takes a vacation or whatever, then they call upon the understudy to play the part while that person is gone. So I understudy Shenzi, who is the female hyena. She's the Whoopi Goldberg hyena. And that part is a lot of fun to play. It's very different from Sarabi, and that's one of the reasons I love it, because they're just two very different characters. Sarabi is the queen, and she's pulled, and she's all this, and Shenzi is just like down in the gutter and loud and brash and bossy. So yeah, it's a lot of fun getting to play both of those roles.
It's really enjoyable seeing the way that they portray Shenzi and the other hyenas.
Yeah.
So, question:
Mm-hmm.
the costuming.
Yeah.
So Sarabi has a headpiece.
Yes.
And that is stationary.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't want to give away the show for people who haven't seen it, but
right.
there's a scene where she's crying.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful. I just love
Yeah.
how it's done.
Yeah.
But Shenzi, her headpiece is mobile.
Correct. So everybody in the show has to learn how to be a puppeteer on some level.
Okay.
Because basically everything is a puppet. Like every character, every animal, everything is a puppet of some sort. Some are really big, some are small, but everything is a puppet. So Shenzi, the hyenas, they're all like the heads are all puppets. So they, the mouths move, and you maneuver them different ways, and that's probably that can probably be one of the more challenging things about playing one of the hyenas, is that you really have to embody the hyena. You kind of have to become, this hyena, and the way you hold your body, the way you hold the puppet, because you're not necessarily using your head as the head of the character. This puppet head is the head, so you have to make it come alive and move it around, and that's, it can be very intricate to do that. So yeah, but it's a puppet that's movable, and yeah.
Yeah. So how many hours of rehearsal do you typically have to kind of get all that down?
Yeah. Well, when you first join the show, everybody gets 4 weeks of rehearsal, where, like, if you're brand new to the show, you've never done it before, you get 4 weeks of rehearsal where you basically learn all of your music, you learn all of your staging, you learn how to work with all of your costumes, all of the puppets. Like, you learn how to maneuver all these puppets the way they want you to. You kind of learn how to embody these animals, embody these characters. So yeah, you get 4 weeks when you start out. Yeah, and it can be pretty intense depending on, what character you're playing, what role you're playing. It can be pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you first set out to audition for The
Mm-hmm.
Lion King, or to be on the show, was Sarabi the character that was your goal to be?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I wanted to be Nala.
Okay.
I feel like
Yeah.
every girl who's in musical theater at some point wants to be Nala.
Okay.
I wanted to be Nala. I didn't even think of any of the other female characters. Like, I was just, when I first saw the show, she was the one. I was like, yep, that's who I'm gonna be. And as I started auditioning, and funny enough, I started meeting other people who had done the show before, and they were like, yeah, we know you want to be Nala, but check out the other female characters. Check out Sarabi, check out Shinzi. Like, there are other parts you can play other than just Nala. So I was like, okay, fine, but I still want to be Nala.
Yeah.
And when I first auditioned, I auditioned for the show in Germany, in Hamburg, Germany. And so I was auditioning to cover the role of Nala, and I had to learn, all her songs and everything I had to learn in German. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so confusing. And I didn't get it, which was fine, because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to move to Germany. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for that just yet. But I came back to the US, and then I went in again for the show, and they were seeing me for Shenzi. And I was like, I don't want to be Shenzi.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be Shenzi at all. So when I finally got in, and, going through the audition process, they asked me to read for Sarabi. And I didn't really know who Sarabi was. So I read for it, and then I got it. And in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, oh, but I still want to be Nala. I still want to be Nala. And I remember, I went through my whole rehearsal process, learning the show and everything, learning Sarabi. And I remember my first show, where I was on for the show, in the middle of Circle of Life, where I'm, standing at the top of Pride Rock with Mufasa and baby Simba. And I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
Like, from that moment, I was like, nope, this is it. This is where I want to be. So yeah, so I kind of went through that whole process of wanting to be Nala, not wanting to be anything else or anyone else. And then, getting Sarabi and realizing that this was the part that I'm supposed to have,
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful scene. Like that opening scene and just
Yeah.
oh Lord, I can't even think about
Yeah.
it right now.
I
But
think it's beautiful too. I really do. I really, really do. It just kind of wakes everybody up. It, gets the audience going. It really immerses you into the world of this story, and I think it's beautifully done. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, how much is the ticket? But then when you
Right.
sit down and be like, okay, I
It's
get it.
worth it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's worth it. It's worth every dime. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's so beautiful. So, how would you describe your experience playing Sarabi, through the years?
Through the years. It's been great. Like, I love the role. I love I don't know, I just love it. I love playing the queen. I love the part of the story that is Sarabi's story. I enjoy telling that part of the story. And I enjoy finding, because I've been doing the show since 2010, like people often ask, how can you do the show for so long? Don't you get bored, or, don't you get kind of tired of it? And I feel like I don't, because as I mature as a person and as a woman, I kind of grow into different parts of who Sarabi is. And I still find things, I still search for things that I can do differently every night. I still search for moments where I think about, well, what is happening with her in this moment? What can I infuse into this character that's not necessarily on the page, that's not necessarily a line that's going to tell the audience what's going on. And so that's what I love about it, that, as an actor, I get to constantly unfold and discover parts of Sarabi's story, that's, that to me is the fun part. So I really enjoy it. I really enjoy playing her.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you think that you and Sarabi have some things in common?
Well, at this point, yeah.
She
I
is
feel
you and
like,
you are her.
exactly. I am she is me. Yeah, I think, because she's the queen, and she's the mother of Simba. She's the mother of this young prince. And so, everything she does is infused with heart and love for, her child, who is one day going to be king. And, although I don't have children, I can kind of feel what that feels like to, to want to raise this young child and know the responsibility that he's going to bear, but also understand who he is as a kid, and how precocious he is, and how sometimes he gets himself in a little bit of trouble. And so, yeah, I think we're similar in that, we both kind of have a lot of heart. You know what I mean? So yeah.
She seems wise and you seem wise.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, there's a moment where, I don't want to give away the story,
Right.
but there's a moment in the show where kind of where Zazu kind of alludes to the fact that Sarabi's in charge, like,
Hmm.
yeah, Mufasa, you're the king, but Sarabi's in charge. And so I kind of love that. I think that's an interesting balance of being wise and being strong, but also knowing that you're not the one that people are necessarily going to defer to, but you're still kind of in that position of power, and people see your wisdom and see your heart and see your strength. So I kind of like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes as women that that tends to be the story.
Yeah.
People assume, that the men can lead whatever. They can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. But a lot of times in the background, the woman is in a leadership role. She is an authority,
Yeah.
but her power, her authority is so, I don't know, strong or innate. I don't know if that's what's the right word to say, that she doesn't even have to present herself as the authority.
Exactly. It's like
You
a
can, like,
quiet strength.
right, you can
Yeah.
sit in the background, but know that people understand that you know what's best and
Exactly.
and
But
how to
and I
make the
think,
right moves.
yeah, and I think that's part of the beauty of being a woman is that, you're kind of the backbone of things,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it gets taken to the extreme, like people don't necessarily see you or people don't want to acknowledge you. Like, I feel like that can be the extreme of it. But I think one of the beautiful things of womanhood is being that quiet strength. Like, you don't have to come in the room and be the loudest person in the room, but you can still be strong in the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
So, what do you love about being in the show?
Ooh, what do I love? Well, I love the story. I absolutely love the story. I love the music. Um, and I also love my cast. Like, I love the cast. I love the people that I get to work with every night. We we have so much fun, and I often joke that, the people pay to see the show on stage, but the real show is backstage.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much fun together, and yeah, I just really love the cast, the people that I get to meet. And it's interesting because I've been in two different companies. I've been on the tour and I've been in the Broadway company. um, but there are several companies of the Lion King worldwide, and I think one of the beautiful things about this show is that at any moment somebody from another company can come join your company for a short time and then go to another one. Like somebody who's in the London cast might come to the US cast, and somebody from the Broadway cast might go on tour, and somebody from the tour might come to Broadway, and then somebody, so you kind of get to, we have people who started the show in Germany or started the show in Spain who are now on Broadway. So I think one of the things that I love is that it really is kind of a family. It's kind of a small world of people who are like in this Lion King universe, and and you get to interact with all kinds of people. You get to know people from literally all over the world who are coming together to tell this story. And I think that's one of the things that I love most is just the people that I get to work with and the people that I get to interact with on a daily basis. I think it's just beautiful.
I've seen videos of the cast of the Lion King shows when they're traveling, when they're on
Yeah.
planes and stuff. And I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like it's such a family. And I don't know if I've seen it necessarily from other shows, maybe I haven't looked, but
Yeah.
it just looks like it's a family. And I
Yeah.
think that is so beautiful.
It really is. It really, really is. I mean, we kind of spend our lives together, especially when you're on tour. You literally spend your life you work with these people, you live with these people, you travel with these people. So it definitely becomes a family type situation. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Would you say there are some struggles with being in the show?
Um, yeah, and I think honestly the struggles, well, I mean, for one, it's very, very physically demanding. So you really have to be on top of just taking care of your body, taking care of your voice, taking care of every part of you. Um, and sometimes it can be hard. Like sometimes I remember when I first started the show, I think for the first 2 months, I woke up every day and my body just ached. And I was like, why am I so achy? But it's so physical. Your whole body is literally making these characters, making these animals come alive. So I think one of the things that you kind of have to figure out, like every single person has to figure out how to make their body work and stay healthy while doing, this very physically demanding thing.
Looking at the way you all move, it looks like it can be demanding.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So it's like you learn how to take your rest when you need it. When your body says rest, everything stops, Yeah.
Also, yeah, listening to your body is important.
Yeah, yeah.
So, first of all, congratulations on the 9,000th show.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we just celebrated that the other day.
Does that make The Lion King, is it the third longest?
Yeah, the third longest running show. We are behind Phantom and Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, we're the third longest running show on Broadway.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have like a favorite moment from your
Mm.
time being in the show? Like, was there a show that was just like, oh, this is.
I would say my first show ever, when I first started the show and I was, finished with rehearsal and I was finally on stage for an audience. That was definitely an amazing moment. And then my first show on Broadway, because that's like the dream. Like the dream is like to be on Broadway. And my dream was to be on Broadway in The Lion King. So that moment was definitely like, oh my God, I made it, But yeah, I think those two moments are definitely two of my favorite moments from doing the show.
Wow, I can
Yeah.
imagine how
Yeah.
that felt.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome feeling. And also too, like there's such camaraderie among the cast and people knowing, like you get so much support when you're new and everybody is supporting you. The cast is supporting you, the crew, just like you know that you have everyone's support. Everybody is there for you. Everybody is, willing to kind of help you in whatever way they can for your first show. So it's nice to know that all of that energy is kind of geared towards you. All of that energy is being kind of projected towards you. And then when you finish your first show, like people give you so much love and, so many cheers, and it's really beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there cast members that have been with you since you first started?
Not at this point, just because I did go from the tour to
Right.
the Broadway company. So it's interesting that there are some cast members who are currently on Broadway with me that were also on tour with me, but we kind of started at different times.
Okay.
So yeah, but like I said, that's one of the beautiful things about it is that, you could do the show on tour and then, come do the show on Broadway. You could do the show and leave the show and not do the show. Like I didn't do the show for like a year and a half and then came back and now seeing people who were on tour with me like several years ago. So like there's always a bit of a family reunion going on. Like you hear this person's coming, you're like, oh, I haven't seen this person in so long. I'm so excited. So there's always a bit of a reunion happening when people move in and out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, and you have friends everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, all over the place. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So how would you say that your time on the show has impacted your life?
Well, I think, it's definitely been a positive impact overall. It's given me the opportunity to travel throughout the US. Like I've traveled a lot abroad, but I think before I went on tour, I hadn't seen a lot of the US. And so being on tour, like being on the North American tour, you go literally all over the country, up into Canada, like you go a lot of different places. So it's given me the opportunity just to kind of explore the United States, which is beautiful. You go to all these different places and you learn all these new cities and all these new places. So I think that's probably been one of the biggest impacts that it's had is just giving me the opportunity to travel and really see the US and go places that I may not have ever gone on my own,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is there a place in the US that you would consider relocating to? Like, was there a place that you loved so much?
Oh man, yes. I really enjoyed Southern California. It's really beautiful. We were in LA for 2 months. We also did Costa Mesa. So yeah, I love Southern California. But we also had the opportunity to be in Hawaii for 2 months.
Mm.
So like nothing can really beat that. You know,
Yeah.
like nobody's saying, "Oh, I'd rather be somewhere other than Hawaii." You know. So yeah, I mean, just having the opportunity to go to Hawaii for 2 months. You know, most people take a vacation, they go to Hawaii and they're there for like a week, maybe two. But we were there for 2 months. So that was really cool, just having the opportunity to explore the Hawaiian Islands and be there for a good chunk of time. You know, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been to Hawaii yet, but
Oh man, it's just gorgeous.
wow.
Just gorgeous. I mean, and if you don't like there are some people who don't like beaches, who don't like the tropics, who don't like that. So if you don't like that, then you probably won't like it, but I mean, I'm all about a beach, so you know.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get there. There's actually a Disney resort in
There
Hawaii.
is Aulani, yes, and several of us had the opportunity to go there when we were in Hawaii. It's
Oh,
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's on my list.
Yeah, yeah. You got to get there if you can.
So you are gonna be leaving the show
Yes.
soon.
So, right now I will be in the show until the end of July. Um, but you never know.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah.
What's your next move? Are you willing to share?
Well, I'm working on a few. I don't want to share too much, but I am
Okay.
working on a few personal projects. And I definitely want to get some travels in. My travels have kind of taken a bit of a backseat in the past couple of years. So I got to get some traveling in and go visit some friends and just work on some other personal um, goals of mine, some personal things that I want to do, some artistic endeavors. So yeah.
Right, because in addition to acting, you are an author,
Yes.
you're a traveler, you're a life coach.
I am all of the
So
above. Yes.
you doing things.
I'm doing things. I'm doing things. Yeah,
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your book?
sure, absolutely. So I self-published my book in August of 2017. So it's been almost 2 years now. It's called The Heart Works, a collection. And it's basically a collection of short stories and personal journal entries that I wrote over a period of like several years. And I compiled them into a book. So there are travel stories in there, there are personal reflections in there, um, personal journal entries that I wrote, just different writings, different things that I've written. I really enjoy writing. It's one of my ways of kind of like decompressing. And I've written, different blogs over the years and just written things just for my own personal kind of fulfillment. So I decided to include some of those things in my book. So yeah, it was quite an achievement, especially since I self-published it. That's quite a process. It's quite a
Oh,
process. Yeah.
oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a process.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really commendable for you to put yourself out there.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was talking to a friend the other day and I was telling her that I really enjoy discovering myself, like through vulnerability. Like I think we really shy away from being vulnerable. Everybody is afraid to like really put themselves out there, and I kind of search for opportunities to be vulnerable, and publishing a book that is your personal stories, that's like really that's really really vulnerable. You're kind of stripped bare. And I remember as I was publishing and I was going through and editing and rereading some of the things I had written, I would read things and I would think to myself, oh my gosh, am I really gonna like like am I really gonna like share this? Am I really gonna share how I'm like this depth of emotion and this depth of feeling? But I think it's such a freeing thing um to do that. Like I think when you take control over your own self, over your own story, and choose to share yourself in that way, nobody can hold anything over your head. Nobody can control you with anything, because it's like, well, I've already chosen to tell to share myself in that way. So nobody has control over you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that, it's quite a process, but it is a vulnerable thing, but I think it's a really beautiful thing to be vulnerable. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's a journey, and
it definitely is.
it's freeing. It's freeing.
It really, really is. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So what is we don't sit on couches?
We don't sit on couches. Well, we don't sit on couches. Oh, I have so many stories about this. It started off as my travel blog. I wrote a travel blog for several years. We don't sit on couches.com for anyone who wants to go check it out. But yeah, it was my travel blog. And then after a while, it just kind of became kind of like my lifestyle, or like my kind of catchphrase for life. And really the meaning of that phrase is, there's a long story about how I came up with it, which I won't go into it, but it's on the website if you want to check it out. But what it kind of means for me is that rather than sit back and wait for things to come to you or wait for life to happen to you, go out and live the life that you want to live. And I feel like for me, that's a constant journey of making sure that I am going after the things that I want to go after, that I'm living my life to the fullest and not allowing fear to stop me. And that's one of the things that I coach on, is fearless living. One of the other phrases that I use a lot is fear is stupid. That's one of like the hashtags that I use a lot. And one thing that I noticed, as I was traveling and writing my blog and doing all of these adventurous things, I would notice that people would react with such fear. Like their immediate reaction was, oh my gosh, I would be so afraid to do that. Or, oh, I would just die. Or, something that was fear-based. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, we can't go through life living with fear as the thing that guides us, So that's one of the things that in my own personal life, I'm constantly checking myself to make sure that my decisions are not fear-based. And then also when fear comes up, making sure that I ask myself, okay, what are you actually afraid of? What is this feeling? What are you actually afraid of? Let's get to the bottom of it so that we can kind of get over it. You know what I mean? And as a coach, that's one of the things that I coach my clients on, is how to get to the bottom of their fear, how to really uncover it and figure out what exactly it is. And so that, we can overcome it, because we live so much of our life, I think, governed by fear. And there's so many things that we don't do simply because we're afraid. And what I've realized is that most of our fears are irrational and like not real. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's we don't sit on couches. That's fear is stupid. That's all of those things.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you can talk yourself out of doing something before you even like research like how easy it is, or figure out how to do it.
And people do it all the time. Do it all the time. Yeah. We convince ourselves that the thing that we want to do is impossible before we've even checked to see if it's possible. You know what I mean? Like our default is to just go with the fear rather than push the fear aside and figure out if we can actually make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like your most fearless moment, or your moment where you kind of overcome your fear?
Yeah. I mean, I've done so many, like I said, I've traveled a lot, and I've done so many things where in the moment I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I've done so many. So I'll tell you one. There's I really hate the feeling of falling. Like I hate that feeling. So I have to purposely, I feel like when something scares me or when something causes me fear, I have to figure out a way to do it so that I can get over the fear, or so I can at least confront the fear. So I I saw this video once it was just like a random YouTube video of these, I think the word is cenote. They're like in Mexico, there are these big, like, kind of like holes in the ground, but it's like underneath, it's like a underwater, like underground watering hole or something.
Okay.
And so I saw a video of people like jumping off of this ledge into the water. And I hate jumping off of things. I don't like the feeling of falling. But I saw that video and people were just having the time of their lives. And I was like, I got to go do that. And it's going to scare the crap out of me, but I know I have to do it. So I literally I took a 2-day trip to Mexico just to go to this specific one. And it was near Chichen Itza. And I went with 2 friends of mine. This was while I was on tour. And so I went with 2 friends of mine. And we went, and let me tell you something. You have to like walk up these steps to get to the ledge so that you can jump off into the water. And so we're watching people walking up the steps and they're jumping off, and, you know, people are just having a good time, and it's so much fun, so much fun. So I'm like, okay, we have to go. It's my turn to go. So I walk up there with my friend. My friend walks up and he jumps off first, and, you know, he just made it look so easy and so beautiful. And I'm like, okay. So he's in the water with a camera, like with a waterproof camera, waiting for me and my friend to jump in. And me and my friend, we get to the top, we get to the ledge, and we were like, 1, 2, 3. And my body literally shut down. Like, I could not move. I was so scared. And it was like, and I knew it was an irrational fear because I was literally watching people do it over and over and over again. So I knew like, nobody's dying here. Everybody's having a good time, but my body just could not move. And so there are like 2 kind of lifeguards up there who, you know, they're kind of directing the flow of traffic, and they wouldn't let anybody else come up the stairs until me and my friend jumped, and they just stopped everybody. So now at this point, I'm standing on this ledge with my friend. My body will not move. I'm scared to pieces, and everybody in the area is just watching. Like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. So finally, we just had to go. My friend was like, come on, Tryphena, fear stupid. And I was like, I know, but I can't move. So finally, like, I just get up enough nerve to just throw myself off this, you know, ledge. And I jump and I hit the water and I come up and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing thing ever. But like, that was like an example of how fear will stop you from doing things. And you do it and you're like, what was I afraid of? It was so amazing. Like, you know, I just had to get over the fear. I had to take that energy from the fear and allow it to propel me forward rather than, you know, hold me back. So that's an example of one thing. I've done some things, some pretty adventurous things, but that's an example of one thing where I was just so afraid, you know, to do it. But I got over it.
Yeah. And then you had this beautiful experience.
Exactly. And I have video of it, and, you know, it's amazing. So yeah.
I try to be fearless.
Yeah.
One of my biggest fears actually is I have really bad social anxiety.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
I would never guess that from meeting you.
Yeah. So I force myself to just put myself out there.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
like, if the experience is awkward, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably think about it for the rest of my life, but it's okay.
Right. But you're dissecting it like, oh gosh, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I?
Yeah. But it's like, okay, but I did it.
Exactly.
It is. It's done, and move on. And
exactly.
That was one of the motivations behind even starting this podcast, just to get to know people and find a way to talk to people.
Yeah, no, but that's awesome. And I mean, that's perfect because you recognize your fear and you found a way to live even in the midst of having that fear. You found a way to kind of overcome it and figure out how to get past it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
It's a work in progress. But...
of course, you know, everybody's on a journey. It's a journey, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
So you have a weekly show on
I do.
IGTV
I
and on
do.
YouTube.
Yes, yes.
Do you wanna tell us a little about Fearless Fridays?
Yes, I would love to talk about Fearless Fridays. So Fearless Fridays, like you said, it's a weekly show. It's on YouTube as well as IGTV. And it's basically, it's a quick show. It's like every episode is like less than 10 minutes. And it's basically kind of an empowerment, encouragement show, but it's also geared towards helping people overcome fear and deal with fear. And every in the beginning, every episode was based specifically about fear, or like a certain fear, specific fear that people have. But it kind of molded itself into just like an empowerment series. So I do talk specifically about fear. Sometimes I talk about just encouraging and empowerment things that kind of come to me, and I kind of unpack my thoughts about that topic. And sometimes while I'm unpacking it, I get to the root of it, and sometimes it is fear based. But yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a weekly empowerment series to kind of encourage people to live fully and live in spite of fear, to live their lives fully in spite of fear. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Thank
I've
you.
caught a few of the episodes, and I got my life.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I always love when people tell me that something I said encouraged them or helped them, or even challenge them a little bit, because sometimes I feel like everything can't be lovey-dovey and soft. Sometimes we got to be challenged a bit in order to get to the next place. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And you've traveled
I
quite a
do.
bit.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Do you have a few of your favorite places that you've been?
Oh man. I sometimes I feel like that's like asking a parent which child is their favorite.
Right.
I really love, my first trip abroad, my first experience abroad was in Ghana, West Africa. I did a study abroad when I was in college, a study abroad. So I did a semester abroad at the University of Ghana in West Africa. And I have to say that that's my favorite, just because it was my first time abroad. It's my first time, overseas. And I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was just a beautiful experience to kind of, go to West Africa, go to Africa for the first time and study at the university and meet so many people and have that experience of, being a Black American in Africa. I think that's a really profound experience. And I think you see that a lot now. Like, you see a lot of Black Americans going to different parts of Africa and kind of feeling like they have found their place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a favorite place that I could go back to again and again and again. I also really love Italy. I think Italy is my favorite European country.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's so much natural beauty, and there's so much variety in like their natural landscaping. Like, you have mountains and cliffs, and you have sandy beaches and rocky beaches, and you have caves and coves and all these little things. The Italian coast is just gorgeous. And I love the Mediterranean. So I think Italy is probably my favorite European country. Ghana is my favorite country, like, overall. But yeah, I mean, I'm scratching the surface. Like, I still have so many places to go.
Yeah.
you
Where would be your next place?
I would really love to take a trip to Tanzania next year.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I want to go is I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So yeah, I really want to do that. So yeah, that's definitely on the list of something that I want to do soon and very soon. Yeah, and I've traveled a lot in Europe and, different parts of Africa, but I haven't been to like the Far East. I've only been to Thailand.
Okay.
So I want to, go further east. Like I want to see India. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to China. Like I want to go further in that direction. I also want to get to Australia. So yeah, I still got some pages in my passport that need some stamps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. This has been so great.
It's been awesome. Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up soon.
Okay.
But do you have a favorite Disney moment or memory you'd like to share?
My favorite, like you mean at the park or
In general.
just a Disney moment in general? Um, I mean, I guess this would be a Disney moment because it's Lion King involved. When I was on tour, my tour cast, we had the opportunity to visit the White House and sing for our forever First Lady, Miss Michelle Obama.
Oh.
Yeah, that was really amazing. And I think one of the most amazing parts about it was that she gave each and every one of us a hug. And we were like, done. We were like, okay, we can die happy now. Like that was an amazing moment. And it wasn't like just like a quick little cute little pat on the back hug. It was like a real like, let me embrace you with both arms hug. So I guess that's a Disney moment because it's a Lion King moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, the mother.
The honey, forever. Forever and always.
My mother.
Listen, you're like, life is complete. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I meant to send my daughter's birth announcement, because they'll send you little messages, and I never did, and I'll forever regret it. Maybe it's not too late.
Wait, how old is she?
She's 7.
They were like, girl, you really pushing it, girl. You're really pushing it.
I know.
But you never know. You never know.
Right. Maybe I'll offer to be their tour whenever they go to Disney World.
Yes. There you go.
I'll be their tour guide.
That's so funny.
So, what is one thing about yourself that you would like everyone to know?
Oh wow. I love to, this is back to the whole like fearless living. And it's one of the reasons why I started my coaching practice is I just love the opportunity to help people get over their fears and like live their fears and really dive in and figure out what their fear is. I love to encourage people to live fearlessly. So I think that's one thing about myself that I would love people to know. And it's a process. Even for me, it's an ongoing process to figure out what a fearless life looks like for you. I think that's an ongoing process, and I just love being able to encourage people to do that.
Yeah. Pursuing your happiness is so important.
Yeah.
It blocks it.
It definitely blocks it. Yeah.
This has been so amazing.
This has been awesome. Yeah.
I really, 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 really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to little old me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me on. I love this. I love just having conversations with people. Yeah.
This has been beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone listening has really enjoyed everything you have to say.
Yes, I hope so.
And if they want to follow you or get to know more about you, where can they find you?
Well, on Instagram, you can find me at Tryphena_Wade. So that's just my name, Tryphena_Wade. That's my Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. You can find my Fearless Friday series, as well as my travel videos, as well as performance videos. You can find all of that on YouTube under my name as well, Tryphena Wade. And then you can go to my website, tryphenawade.com. And there you'll be able to check out my travel blog, my podcast, my Fearless Fridays, my book, everything. You can get everything at tryphenawade.com.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to link all that in the show notes.
Perfect.
So everyone can get as much of Tryphena as they need.
Yes. Get as much as you need.
Yes.
Get your fix. Get your Tryphena fix.
Yes. Queen herself.
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for talking to me. And I mean, I really enjoyed seeing you yesterday. And hopefully I can sneak back in maybe one more time to catch you.
Yeah, just let me know.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me know.
And once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You've just heard my conversation with Tryphena. Her run at Sarabi will be closing at the end of this month. So if you're in town, please try to make it out and go see her. Also, if you live near Columbus, Ohio, please be sure to check out her short film, Dear Carefree Black Girl, which has been accepted as an official selection at the Columbus Black International Film Festival, which will take place in Columbus, Ohio, August 22nd to 25th. I posted a link to her website and her social media in the show notes. And also check out her Fearless Fridays on YouTube and on Instagram. Living in fear is the number one way to block your blessings, as we can see portrayed in The Lion King, where Simba would rather run to the jungle and eat bugs than step up, be a king, and get his woman. Just saying. Would you rather eat bugs or would you rather live a royal life? Avoidance and procrastination is a manifestation of fear. So think long and hard about what you're afraid of and go tackle that goal, because there's no time like the present and you'll thank yourself later. The POC-owned small business for this episode is Prim and Saucy Boutique. It is an online children's boutique that is owned by Tamika Atkins with a mission to provide unique, affordable, boutique and custom style apparel and accessories to little ladies around the globe. Check out her stuff at www.primandsaucyboutique.com. Now for the announcements. First up is the D23 meetup. I know I teased this for forever, but I had to stop avoiding and procrastinating and get over my fear of it not being a great event and just pick a dang location. So the D23 meetup will be on Friday, August 23rd at 6 p.m. at the House of Blues in Anaheim, California. It's about a half a mile away from the Anaheim Convention Center, so everyone that's planning to camp out for the panels the next day can just head right over after you all link up and fellowship for a bit. If you are planning to go, head over to my website, afrosandpixiedust.com, and click the link on the events tab for more info, and also sign up for the newsletter there if you want more updates as we get closer to the event date. The second announcement is the giveaway that I teased about last week. I've teamed up with some other creators on Instagram to host a giveaway, and it's featuring some awesome Lion King merchandise. In order to enter the giveaway, go head over to Instagram to @CircleOfLifeGiveaway and follow the instructions there. I have linked that page in the show notes, and it'll also be up on my website so you guys can win some cool stuff. Good luck to everyone. And as always, if you've enjoyed what you've heard, please be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with all of your friends. And also be sure to join the Afros and Pixie Dust Facebook group so we can chat more about The Lion King. So until next time, never stop deep conditioning or pursuing your happiness.